What is happening, y'all? What is happening? What is happening? I'm your working gamer, and we are here, Wuchang, giving my review. And I have to say, this game definitely hits a lot of marks for me. It is easy to learn. It is easy to make a strong build. It is super fun, and I I just can't say enough good things about it. First and foremost, I want to go over certain things like the skill tree and the temperance and the armor. I feel like the skill tree looks very intricate and is very quote unquote like almost hard to read, but it's really not. It gave you a lot of options, a lot of easy things to learn, a lot of things that again seem very intricate, but it's very straightforward and I appreciate that, and it's large. I mean, it lets you know, hey, you're gonna have time to fill out all of these. It gives you options. Not too many options like Neo. Neo 2 goes crazy. I love Neo 2. Shout out to Neo 2, of course. But it's very straightforward and it's very simple, and I like that. It's easy for me to comprehend. It's easy for me to learn. It's easy for me to, respec. You get free respec. You can remove items and add certain items here. So again, I'm in New Game Plus, and it's just, again, very easy, very straightforward. Can make it your own, and can, respec as needed. And I definitely really appreciate that about the game. Between the skill tree and the respecking and being able to play, different types of, quote unquote characters with the axe or the longsword or the dual blade or feathering slash magic build. I really appreciate that. And I love the fact that if you get something to a plus 10, everything's a plus 10. It's not just like, oh, this one specific lashing whip longsword is a plus 10. The next longsword you get is also already a plus 10. I mean, that is just like, what do you call it? Like the chef's kiss. Like, that is just, excuse me, what I think really superior and makes the game a little bit more replayable and makes the game a little bit more fun. Um, the replay value, I will say, is there. Of course, being able to respec freely throughout the whole game almost makes it like on your first whole pass of the game, you could pretty much play every single type of weapon available to you. But at the same time, you're not going to get the full effect doing that, right? The full effect of the game doing that, right? Because you could really go all out. I mean, look what I did, right? I went all out longsword here. We're again New Game Plus. I just started it, and I dived a little bit into axe. I dived a little bit into longsword. Excuse me, spear, just to pump up some strength and vitality and agility and things of that nature. So, getting the full effect of a weapon, maybe you can get away with doing 2 builds in one playthrough, maybe, right? But again, I ended the game at level 110, 112, and I didn't do any farming whatsoever. So for me, a couple, playthroughs I think is definitely worth it, like, especially for both endings. So in terms of like the skill tree and the weapons, long sword, spear, feather magic build, dual blade, and axe, I stuck with the long sword. I personally think that this game gives you plenty to work with and plenty to have fun with, and replay as you need. Passive skills are all there that you would want and think of. I think they did a really good job with the feathering idea. I think that's a really cool concept. It builds up depending on your certain skill sets. You can dodge and build it up and then use spells or use a skill set. I think that's a really cool idea. I do. I really do. It's different, right? Lies of P has like the arm. Neo 2, you're like, you can do like this demon thing. You can transform, right? So everybody has like, every game has, their own, touch to it. And I feel like the feathering touch is really nice. Now, in terms of like temperance and things of that nature, I think this is really cool. This does remind me a lot of Lies of P, of course, where you have different types of arms. But in this sense, this is very straightforward, and I really like it. I used the flame temperance. I built up the strength in my longsword with a different needle. I built up the strength of the temperance, and I built up how long the temperance is on for. Again, very straightforward, very easy to understand, very easy to use. And I think that makes the game a lot more enjoyable and a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Has a lot more reach to a larger audience because of how easy it is to comprehend and understand. I mean, at first glance, it looks difficult, and there's a lot going on, but it is very much straightforward. You have benedictions here, kind of like stones. I almost want like I forgot the name of it in Bloodborne, but you know, you can like add these to your weapon, and I find this to be a really cool concept as well to increase pretty much just whatever playstyle you're running with. I did a lot of backstabs. So anything with backstab health rejuvenation or backstab potency, and then continuity of attacks when they land, the more damage you do. After she pushes, you know, them off the sword, you go in there and get a few licks in. Those like 4 or 5 slashes increase in damage the more you attack and the more you land. So I find the builds very much, and they give you a bunch to run with, right? You know, so throughout the game you find all these, right? So I think that in terms of, again, the skill tree, customization of weapons, the weapons themselves, I think there's plenty to choose from, and I don't think you're short on anything whatsoever. Now, I will say, when it comes to the longswords and the design, I think they're very simple, and I think that's okay. I think that weapon design is beautiful. I think that the weapons are cool, and they're very straightforward, again, easy, and I really like the fact of like how easy and simple and straightforward there are, and there's not too many to choose from, and it makes the game, again, very not basic, but it is what it is, and I think they do a great job with what they give you. You know, it's not about quantity, it's about quality, and I can definitely appreciate that. Now, when it comes to armor, you definitely get a bunch of armor throughout the game. I mentioned this in my build video. They make her look great in this armor. She's looking at us. They make her look great in this armor. I mean, she looks absolutely terrific, and she's a badass. You know what I mean? So, and I love the fact that with the armor, there is no weight capacity. You can take on and off armor as you please. I think that is super cool, super great. I mean, look at this. Look, she says, hello, 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 hello. I mean, she is a total badass. Awesome, awesome armor. I mean, really cool. They did a great job with the armor. Love the fact that there's no strength. Excuse me. I love the fact that there is no weight capacity or anything like that. They have to focus on, you don't need to like increase your strength or your stamina to wear certain armor. So if you're struggling with certain bosses and things of that nature, you can switch up the gear as you need. I love how every piece of armor serves a purpose. You know, a lot of armor has, like, perfect example, this piece of armor you get towards the end of the game. Look at the resistance to blight and everything down to paralysis. I mean, super, super cool. Each weapon, excuse me, each piece of armor does serve its own purpose, and I really appreciate that about the game, being able to interchange it as needed and as you feel comfortable and, you know, as you see fit. The pendants, I definitely like the pendants. I wish there was an extra slot for a 4th one. It seems kind of weird that they only give you 3, or at least not the option to unlock a 4th one. I thought that was a little strange. But the pendants, they gave you plenty, very similar to Elden Ring and things of that nature, where the pendants do certain things like increase maximum stamina, reduce damage, increase the magic of your spells or your physical attacks and whatnot. And I definitely really appreciate that very much so. Now, when it comes to the item slots and the spells you get plenty of. Let's stick with the spells. The spells you get plenty of to use, not short of any spells. Really good to use, really easy to learn how to use. And you, again, you can make them to your build as you see fit. They increase with Skyborn Might, so as you dodge pretty much and as you play the game and take on enemies, you're going to build that up. And so you're going to be able to use the spells as your leisure for the most part. I didn't really have a strong feathering quote-unquote build, but I did dump some stats into feathering throughout the game, as you can see here. And I was able to do everything that I needed to. Really, truly, without problem. You know, one time I respec to take on Commander Hong Lan. She was giving me an issue, and that was the only time I respec. So I think that in terms of spells, you're good to go, and there's plenty of them. Corruption, fire, plenty of spells. Carrying 4 spells, I think, is plenty. I don't think you need to be able to carry more than 4 spells. I think 4 spells is a lot to carry, and I think it gives you a lot of the options where it's not attached to the weapon itself. The spells are the spells, they're not attached to the weapon themselves. Although I do wish the weapons themselves would come with like an AoE of some sort. That'd be cool, right? That like just, you know, that you can switch on and off, and it's not like defaulted. You can like keep it on or, you know, what have you, but it is what it is. I do think the item slots though, I do think in terms of the items are, you know, they are what they are. You get plenty of health buffs and removal and whatnot, but I think they should have added more slots for the items, like at least 5 or 6. I felt myself switching out items a lot in this game. Whether just to be like to throw something simple at the bird to get your feather, or I don't know. I just feel like I just feel like the capacity for the items could have been more. I feel like this is like my only, I don't want to say problem or issue, is just I felt like I was constantly going in and out, switching items in and out, and I felt like, you know, 5 or 6 would have been nice to have. But again, I mean, in terms of the skill tree, the weapon, the quantity of the weapons, the quality of the weapon design, you know, the ease of it is to read how easy it is to understand the skill tree and make your build, how easy it is to switch your armor in and out without the weight capacity. And, you know, I feel like everything is really great in this game. I mean, look at that. Total badass. Again, we're starting New Game Plus, and I feel like I'm gonna get into the length of this game now. The length of this game, in my opinion, is definitely long enough. It took me about a little over 40 hours to beat the game. I think it was about 42 hours on my second playthrough that I recorded the boss fight guides on, and that's not too bad. You know, that's a really good amount of time for, you know, $50 for a game. Let's see how this guy is. We're in New Game Plus. Let's see if we just smack this guy around. This guy always gave us trouble. So the length of the game and the amount of items you can get. Oh yeah, we're gonna smack this guy up. And the faint red feathers you get, and they're not shy about giving you items throughout the areas, and they're not shy about giving you a lot to deal with and a lot to play with for $50. I do truly think the length of this game is definitely long enough. It's a solid game. It's not too long, it's not too short. Could they have made it a little longer? Sure. I feel as if once you get past the Fierce Tiger, I feel like once you're past the Fierce Tiger, it's like boss fight after boss fight after boss fight when you talk to the storyteller. And that's like the mid-game-ish point, but I mean, it's not too short of a game by any means. Definitely worth playing twice. Definitely want to play twice. And I gotta say, look at the areas here. I know this isn't like a great spot to show off the areas, but for those who have played this game, they know what I'm talking about. Like, this area and these areas are really nice, really clean. You have like the snowy mountain area. We got this area up in the trees here. We have so the area design and things of that nature, I definitely feel like they did a really good job, right? You have Bow Capital, you have the Reverend Temple area, we have the Snowy Mountain area, all these areas here, Avian Marsh, if I remember correctly. All these areas are really nicely well designed, and they are really fun. They make you wander around. There's not, you know. Cool, thanks, dude. Really great, I gotta say. You know, so area design, game length of the game, difficulty of the game, I will say is not too difficult of a game. I mean, again, I am your working gamer. I'm your everyday gamer. If I'm able to beat this game in 40 hours, you guys can beat this game in 40 hours. You can learn the movesets, get your backstabs in, respec as needed, simple builds. I don't think the difficulty of this game is by far too hard whatsoever. I mean, I would make this game on par with difficulty. I would say like Neo 2 and Liza P. I actually would find Liza P maybe slightly easier than this game. I would not say this game is as difficult as Elden Ring by any means, and I don't like comparing games, but you know, in terms of difficulty, this game is by no means anywhere near the difficulty of Khazan. Khazan is absolutely punishing, and I do think that this game is very well balanced in terms of difficulty. It's a fun game. It's, again, it reaches a large audience because of how easy it is to make your builds, because of how easy it is to, you know, understand the move sets. Very straightforward move sets, nothing too fancy, right? You have your quick attack, you have your strong attacks, you have your disciplines and your skills, you have your spells. Again, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Very easy to understand, very easy to learn, very easy to get done. So, difficulty, game design, all that good jazz. I gotta say, I am very pleased with this game, and I look forward to playing this game in New Game Plus now. You know, so we went over the skill tree, we went over the weapons, the armor, the game design, area design, length of the game. Again, not too short of a game, not too long of a game. Again, in that midpoint game, when you get to the storyteller and you're just kind of blasting through the boss fights, it does seem a little short. There with the Bow Capital, they really make up for it. The Bow Capital is a massive area that you can really, really explore. So, definitely happy about the game. Definitely happy about everything this game has to offer. Really, truly. I mean, this game is definitely super fun, super cool. I mean, total badass, and it's different. It's a little different, right? You know, so yes, it is a Souls-like, but it has its own things to it. Similar where like Lies of P has its own Soul-like, where it has its own things to it, right? It's a Souls-like, but it has its own things to it. So I definitely suggest this game. I would definitely go get this game. It definitely has replay value. And I mean, we went over everything. Skill tree, the builds, the weapons, the armor, the pendants, the items. Items, yeah, sure, I would love an extra item or two, you know. But we went over the game difficulty, the length, the area design. I mean, I really do truly think that this game hits all the boxes for 50 bucks too. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, right? And I truly have no issues with this game. I think this game is totally, totally awesome. Go get this game if you haven't gotten this game. I'm your working gamer. Again, if I can do it, you all can do it because I am no crazy A+ gamer. So go out, go get this game, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hope y'all have a good one.